Okay, Dr. Williams, first of all, as we said, you and I'm going to before you had to be a great football player in the 70s because you do not just mediocre running backs do not get the title express, especially back in the day when you're running a wishbone. So you must have been a pretty good back in the day.
Yes, sir. We had a stable of backs, and I was one of the featured backs, and one of the greatest times of my life was at Bethune-Cookman playing football. So I really enjoyed it.
Talk about that wishbone attack you got. I mean, obviously, when you got a stable and at the day, it was just a matter of just running the wishbone to perfection, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were pretty good at the running the wishbone. We had one of the two of the greatest wishbone quarterbacks at the time. We had little Reggie Beverly from New Smyrna. Then we had Big Willie C. Collins when we needed the power back. But Reggie really knew how to read it, and we were always looking for the pitch or whatever, and it worked for us. We were pretty successful with it.
1975, Mississippi Valley State at the Speedway made one of your better games. Scored 2 touchdowns. What do you remember about that game?
Well, I know one of them was I think we were like goal line, maybe three on the third. We had like third and maybe 5 or 6, and I was able to get the pitch, and I think I had to beat one guy, which I did, and that was one. And the other one, I don't even remember. It's been so long ago. But I played several positions, so I ran kickoffs, punts back that day. So I scored in several different ways. But I know I did score down on the I guess would be the west end zone because we were going east-west that day, and the sand spurs. I remember the sand spurs in the dry dirt. It was a nice field, but it was a nice crowd. And was featured. It was an honor to be able to play in the Speedway. But
everyone I talk, I mean, Willie Jackson, Reggie Bear, everyone. You cannot get outside of that era without the word Sandspur.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was bad. We had to get shots for it and all that. It was. You get tackled, you come up with sand spurs everywhere. But it was, it was a bad field to play on. But we didn't care. We didn't care. We just wanted to play.
Yeah. How post BC, you get your master's, 27 years in Miami-Dade. Had track and field coach, assistant football coach, athletic director. How did Bethune prepare you for post-football and postgraduate life?
Well, I had some great coaches and mentors. Coach Wesley Moore was, he was a hard coach, but he was fair. I mean, he was hands-on. He made sure we was always prepared. I had instructors that were, always, keeping us on point and making sure we did our schoolwork and made us, the motto, follow the motto, enter the learn and, the part to serve. And that always stuck with me. And my coach, my backfield coach, Coach Frazier, I remember while we were during the summer months, he would go back to FAMU to work on his doctorate degree. And that was one thing that stuck with me. But the biggest thing I think, Dan, that stuck me was, I was graduating from Bethune-Cookman, and I was the last in line. I had to graduate that summer because of a curriculum change, and they said I needed to take one more course or whatever. But anyway, make a long story short, I was the last one in line. And when I was marching out, an old man, like he came out of nowhere, never saw me before in my life. And we were all happy. He walked up to me and told me, son, I know you're happy, but you're going to need some more of those. And I said, yes, sir. And it was like he was just disappeared. And so that always stuck with me the day I graduated from Cookman. So when I had an opportunity to get my master's, I took it because they had a sports administration master's degree at St. Thomas University. And that's what I got my master's in sports administration. And then later on, as I was teaching school, they were offering pretty good admission fee for the doctorate program at St. Thomas, not at St. Thomas, at Nova Southeastern University. So I said, what the heck? I thought about Coach Frazier and what, some of the things that he had told me. And so I was accepted and I was able to complete it in, I think, like 4 years. So, I always think back to, Miss Cobb, one of my teachers that was really hard but very good. And she had her doctorate. And I remember Coach Matthews, Bunky Matthews, used to tell us, speak to the motivators about being good players. And Coach McLaren, he was always fun. And, I remember him telling us, man, when I'm back in the day, I could catch a BB in the dark. And that always stuck with me. So I love my alma mater. I mean, if I could do it over again, I'd do the same thing.
Good. Your book, how important and how satisfying was publishing your book about the ugly color of race America?
Okay, well, like I said, back in, I think, 2009, I guess I got this inspiration because I knew that racism was still a major issue in America, but people were like kind of hide and scared to talk about it. So I just thought about some of the things that I had experienced and some of the things that were happening. Then the Trayvon Martin thing came along, so that was motivation to write it. And I just felt like it's a topic that we really need to discuss, sit down and talk about as adults and, forget about the name calling and all of that and just talk like, mature human beings because it's really, as you can see what's going on today, it's really something that should have been dealt with before, but it was just, everything was like undercover. And I just started writing and trying to put things in the book that I thought would be beneficial. And like they say, we come with a problem and try to have solutions. So I try to have some solutions in there and a lot of historical events that took place during my lifetime, even in Daytona and Florida, period. I experienced some things that was really racist and it just stuck with me. So I think it's relevant today. I've had a couple of publishers come to me and want to rewrite it and republish it. And I don't know. I'm still debating whether I want to do that.
Well, if it's any consolation, heck, I'd buy it, and also too, I'd seek out your advice because I'm trying to write my book as well.
Please do.
Okay, I'm the official part of the interview. And I hope you appreciate it because I respect the heck out of them, and they feed me on day. You got to give a shout out to your Omega brethren here.
Most definitely, yeah. Manhood, scholarship, manhood, perseverance, and uplift. Those are the four cornerstones of Omega Psi. Friendship is essential to the soul, and we have to learn to love one another, even if we don't like each other. Sometimes you learn that there's no perfect brother, no perfect fraternity, and it's all about uplifting and persevering, and and that's what I took from Omega. Scholarship first, well, manhood, scholarship, persevering, and uplift. So you're always a man first. Then you got to be scholarly. I'm not saying that you got to be a genius or Einstein, but it's always good to learn. And you got to persevere through tough times because they're coming. Then you try to uplift other people, and that's what I tried to do with the book. Hopefully it'll uplift some people and get some young boys thinking about their lives and how they could do better. And I have a chapter that's devoted to that because I taught school down in mine, and I watched kids being destroyed, especially young black boys. One of my students was gunned down, and that hurt me, and that's what really made me decide to go ahead on and get out, out of teaching, because watching my students get killed like that was kind of hard for me. And so I talk about that in one of the chapters. Mm-hmm. I talked to the young ladies about how they should, not depend on someone else to validate them. They can, validate themselves by making the right decisions for themselves. So I try to, in my book, cover a lot of things, and those things I definitely wanted to do for young black boys and young black girls. And then I talk about the black race as a whole, what we've gone through, how we treat each other, and how we could get out of that Willie Lynch mindset. And, and that's what's in the book. And talk about some of the things that we're seeing now, some of the acts that took place. People don't know that Harry Moore was a graduate of Bethune-Cookman College. He and his wife were killed out in Mims, Florida.
Christmas Day.
And, yeah, Christmas Day. And when I went down there to see his museum, I saw his certificate, his diploma from Bethune-Cookman, and it had Dr. Bethune's name signed on it. I thought that was awesome. So that anybody want to go down there and visit that museum, that was a big inspiration. So that was my motivation, Dan.
Yeah, and here and everything got started because you were good enough in the Wishbone to be named the Express. I mean.
Yeah, well, and it's ironic. There was a song that came out during that time, BT Express, and that was my initials. So that's really where a lot of people. My nickname is Dab. Everybody in Daytona know me as Dab, but on the football field, they would call me the BT Express, and I got one of my jerseys now with that on the back of it.
This is good. Okay. All right. This is the official part of the interview, Coach. You and I are going to speak for a few minutes afterwards. Doc, I appreciate your time and having a good time looking over your exploits from the 70s.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor.